welcome to Tasmania TV and another episode of DIY or Die. Today we are taking an ordinary jacket that I got at a thrift store and turning it into a geek chic punk jacket. I am going to be using some patches that I made myself in this video. If you want to know how I make these patches, I do have a tutorial for those. I'll put a link to that video in the caption box to this one if you want to go check that out. With that said, let's get started. I started my project with a bit of a fail this time, using this belt that broke to acquire a shitload of studs that I wanted to cover the jacket in. However, after spending the better half of an hour taking these off, I quickly realized that they did not want to stay on the fabric after being attached. What I did use for this project was a zipper, a semi-shitty one that I took off an old bag, some patches that I had made before and had laying around, as well as some that I never fully finished turning into patches, black and yellow fabric pieces to create the patches on, and these prints that I actually cut off of underwear that I no longer use, that will work well as patches as they are. And of course, in a test DIY, safety pins. I started off by finishing the patch making, which I mentioned in the beginning. I do have a separate video for how to do that. The quick explanation though is that you create, print, cut, iron on, and then cut the patches out. I used black as well as yellow fabric to add a color element to the jacket. To sew the patches on, I used this white and black thicker thread, which is almost like yarn. Oh, and I'm also changing the buttons on the jacket to red ones, which is actually the very first thing I'm gonna do. I have 3 larger red ones for the front and 6 smaller ones for the sleeve cuffs. I removed the old buttons with a thread opener and saved them in my button box after. Then I sewed each button on by hand using red thread. Then it was patch time. I started with the prints, which I placed centered on the back of the jacket, starting with Gremlins, then Harry Potter, Batman, Superman, and finally Star Wars. I pinned them in place and then began the long process of sewing each patch on by hand. The dark patches were sewn on with white thread and the lighter ones with black thread to create a contrast. I then placed the other patches on the front and sleeves of the jacket, pinned those, and kept sewing. I also sewed on the zipper. I absolutely love the way these stitches look, so I decided to add stitches to the jacket without sewing anything more on. I did this for the shoulders, 2 random spots, and then for the pockets and the sleeve openings. Then it was safety pin time, and I started by going down both sides of the patches in the back. Then I moved on to the front of the jacket and placed safety pins in a couple of random spots for an extra detail. And that is it! Pretty simple means that make a pretty big difference. This thrifted jacket went from yawn to yay! And I love it! That is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I love my jacket. It's exactly the way I wanted it. It's punky, but still geeky, and yeah, I can't wait to start wearing this pretty much right away. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.